In this video, I'm going to be showing you the proposal software that we use at my digital marketing agency to get proposals out faster, get them signed quicker, and earn more revenue. I'll show you how we do it so you can do it too. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Dave here from Profitable Tools, where I review software to help you grow your business. If you are an entrepreneur or an online business owner, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any videos like this one. All right, let's get into it. So, big news, I've got a brand new course and it's going to be free to a lot of you because it's on the SkillJet platform. So if you have an Astra Agency license, you have access to my new course called Closing the Deal. This course is going to take you through the entire sales process, from sales calls to creating proposals to negotiating the proposal and even upselling your customers afterwards. Inside of the course, I'm using a software tool that we actually use in my real digital marketing agency called Nusii. The only problem is, in the course, I didn't really have enough time to go through a complete tutorial of Nusii, so that's what this video is. All right, let's get right into it. All right, so here is a blank Nusii dashboard. Now, as always, I'm gonna be giving you a review. I'm gonna show you what I like and what I don't like about this software, while also teaching you to use it. Now, this is not a paid video, although I was paid by SkillJet to create the course for them. Nusii actually has nothing to do with it. In fact, they don't even know that they were in the course. I just sent them an email to let them know a minute before hitting record on this video. So I'm going to be walking you through Nusii. If you want to get signed up for an account with Nusii, I'll drop my affiliate link for Nusii down below. All right, let's get right into it. This is the dashboard. This is obviously a completely fresh account, although we do use this in my business. I signed up for a new one, so we didn't, reveal any data. So here we go. This is, we're going to see your sales revenue. So this is going to be deals that have already closed in the past. Then we have our estimated pipeline revenue. So what this will do is it'll look at how many proposals you already have out or kind of in a pending state, and then compute it with the proposal acceptance rate to tell you about what your forecasted revenue might be. I think this is a really cool feature. Then, of course, as I mentioned over here, this is the proposal acceptance rate. It's just basic math here. They're going to look at how many proposals you've sent, how many have been accepted, and show you a percentage right over here. Account activity. This is going to give you a bird's eye view of what's going on with your active proposals. You'll see notifications like someone opened your email, someone opened your proposal, someone signed your proposal, someone accepted your proposal or even rejected your proposal. Hopefully you don't get too many of those. Then over here on proposal stats, this is going to give you a rundown of how many proposals were sent and just kind of like the overall analytics of your proposal account. Before we get too deep into Nusii, you might be thinking, why do I need a dedicated proposal tool at all? Maybe you already have a CRM and you're thinking that's enough. Well, I actually had this question come up over in the Profitable Tools Facebook group, which I'll leave a link to down below. And Elena wanted to know just a couple days ago, why don't CRMs have proposal tools included in them? And I guess my answer for that is to draw a bit of a metaphor. Let's say you're a web designer, which I know a lot of people who watch this channel do client work involving website development. If you're designing a website, you might use a project management tool, even like a Kanban board, maybe a Trello type system, where you have different cards and you move that cards along your process for creating the website, right? But you don't actually build the website inside of Trello. Even just saying that sounds a little bit ridiculous. The CRM is very much like that. Now, sure, everyone wants to add more value these days and they tack on extra features. Sometimes they're great, but often they leave a lot to be desired. So the sales process, having a sales call and a proposal and negotiations, that doesn't mean you don't want to use extra tools along the way, like a Zoom call or proposal software to get the deal done faster. All right, with that said, let's head back to Nusii. All right, so this is the dashboard. We've already seen that. Let's move along to the next section, which is called proposals. So this is, obviously blank right now. We'll be coming back to this a little bit later in the course, but this is where all of your proposals are going to hang out, whether they're in draft mode or whether they've already been sent and accepted. You'll see them all right here. The next section down is clients. And really you could think of this more, not necessarily as clients, but maybe as prospects, because you're going to enter in everybody who's going to get a proposal will be entered in over on this screen. It's actually very important that you fill this out pretty thoroughly because the templates that we're going to create end up having a lot of dynamic insertion in them. So the client's first name, the client's business name, the client's phone number, the client's location will all likely show up inside of your template. So you want to make sure that that gets entered in here because that is where the information will pull from. You can see to get started that Nusii actually created a kind of fake client for you. We can hit this little pencil icon over here to open up the edit screen, and I can go ahead and change change their information. Right now, we've got a first name John, last name Doe. We've got an email address of johndoe@nusii.com. The phone number field is blank, so let me go ahead and enter that. The next section is what type of currency the client likes to deal with. So my account is defaulting to US dollar because I set it up as an American company. But if you wanted to choose a different currency for a specific client, you could definitely do that. Then we've got the proposal language as the next section down. It supports quite a few different languages here. Then after that, we've got our default time zone. This is important because there will be timestamps. What Nusii does is actually tracks when emails are opened, when proposals are viewed, when things are signed. So I highly recommend choosing the time zone for your client so you can know kind of when they are interacting with things. The next section is for PDF page size, which is actually fairly important because as you send out proposals, more people than you'd think are going to actually print off these proposals, maybe show them to other people in their business or show them to their friends and family. Hey, what do you think of this proposal? Should I do this deal? So you want to make sure you have this set to the accurate page size for that country. Your choices here are just simply A4 or US letter. Now, both the time zone and the page size have account-wide settings, and then you can customize them on a client-by-client basis. I'll show you the account-wide settings in a little bit. Scrolling down a little bit further here, we've got the business name, the web URL, the role at the company, the address of the company, the city the company is in, the postal code, the state that the company is in, the country, and then you can also have a notes section down here if you want to keep tabs on anything that's going on with the client. You can do that. It won't be accessible to the client. Only you will see that. I'm going to go ahead and fill in some placeholder information here so we have a client with a complete profile for building out a template. All right, that's all filled in. Let me go ahead and save the client over here. Now that I've got some fake information entered about my fake prospect, you can see it here on the client overview screen. We've got all the information I just filled in. We can also see any proposals they've been sent. So this is nice. If you're going to send more than one proposal to the same client, you can see how you've interacted with them. We've got our client activity. Again, that's where you'll be able to track whether things are getting opened or not. And then we have any sales revenue that has been generated from this client. All right, so let's talk about the next two sections, which are called sections and templates. They're actually fairly related. So a template is exactly what it sounds like. It's a generic proposal that you can customize and send off to a client very quickly. Sections are reusable sections that you might include inside of one of your templates. A good example here would be if you're doing a website and you might have different features that you want to include inside of your proposal. Let's say sometimes you offer hosting, but not every client wants that, so you don't put it in every proposal. Well, you could have a section just on your hosting services that you could insert when it's appropriate for the right clients. Let's take a look. Over here in the templates section, we can see there's a little slider at the top. It says Nusii templates as well as your templates. So Nusii templates are going to be templates provided by Nusii, and they're for a variety of different situations: general consulting, marketing templates, video production, catering, so on and so forth. But we can also create our own templates, and this is actually what I recommend you doing. You can look at the Nusii templates and maybe get some ideas. Over in my course, I show you the exact template that I use, so you can copy and paste that into Nusii if you'd like to do that. So as of right now, there's no real way to export and share templates among accounts, which I think would be really cool to do, but they don't really have that feature yet. So you're gonna have to rebuild mine if you want to use that. Let's go ahead and create a template and kind of see the process of it. I'll choose create blank template, and we'll give this template a name of website design template. Now, the way Nusii is laid out is there's different sections inside of your template. So the first one that I always start with is a welcome section. Inside of the welcome section, I'll write a nice letter. Now, this is a pretty much pre-written letter that I just kind of customize a little bit to fit the end of the sales call, to match the tone and the direction of the sales call. I go through exactly what my welcome letter includes in the course. So for now, I'll just fill it in with some lorem ipsum. Now, the editor is full of your basic word processing features, things like bolding, underlining, italicizing, striking through. You can create paragraphs, do alignments, create lists, either numbered or bulleted, and even include things like quotes. So let's take a look at a few of these things. Let's go ahead and pull this out and turn it into a quote. There we go. We see we have a nice little stylized quote over here. You can link out to external sites as well. So you just highlight the text you want to turn into a link, and then you go over to the little link icon right here, which uses the standard key command on a Mac, which is Command K. I'll go ahead and hit that, and you can see what it looks like to create a link. Let's link this up to Google. It's very easy to insert images. Just go up to the insert image icon or Command P, hit that button, and then you just drag and drop an image in. Let me go ahead and find a photo of myself here. That's very embarrassing. All right, there we go. I am dropped into the proposal. It looks kind of great out here. It's because it's selected. There we go. That looks better. And just like any sort of page builder type of experience, WordPress does this where you can kind of grab the corner and resize it. We've got some basic placement options in terms of alignment. I can align it left, center, or right. So by default, we're just kind of having this live over here on the left. I think that actually looks best. We have some word wrap options, whether you want this to be in line with your text or to break the text. Then of course, we can either swap this out with another image, which I like this. So if you have everything laid out, let's say it's actually comes more useful to me when I'm doing a table, which I do often in my proposals. So if I have a nice table laid out and then kind of deleting images and putting new ones in can make the table a little wonky. So I like this replace feature. Seems simple, but I've actually used quite a few software proposal tools that lack this. It's an obvious feature to me, but this one works really well. So we can swap that out with a different image. Then of course you can also link the image out to another site, just like we did with our hyperlink of the text before. That's just right here, same interface where you just type in the URL. And then if you click on the image, it'll actually link you out to a website. As for videos, I don't usually use a video in my proposals, but if you want to, there is of course the option to embed one in one of your sections. Simply click the video icon and then you can just paste in a YouTube URL. You can even actually upload your own video right to the service. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. It's not really built to playback videos, so you'll get a more reliable experience for your end user if you just link up to YouTube. Let's go ahead and insert that. You can see what it looks like. Very similar to the image where I can click the sides and drag it around to resize it, although it comes in at a pretty good size. Two more options left inside of the editor here. The next one up is for inserting a table. I like this interface that they've got going here. So if I wanted to add, let's say a 3-column, 5-row table, I could very easily do that. Simply select the size that you want and then click, and there we go. We've got a nice little table inserted. All of the processing that you've already seen in terms of adding photos and videos can be done inside of the table as well. Let's go ahead and populate this. All right, so I just added a little bit of information here to this table. You can see I've added an image. We've got some formatting with things like bolding and striking through the text. The tables end up working really, really well for doing things like timelines or charts where you're gonna have multiple steps in the process. The last feature inside of the editor is for variables. This is that dynamic text that I was telling you about. It's really important to creating a easy to reuse template, right? Because if you have to go through each template to personalize it, it's gonna take a really long time. You've gotta reread the entire template and then kind of customize each time you want to send something out. So one place that this would work is in this welcome section where you're going to be treating it like a letter to your prospect. You could say something like, hello, client first name, but rather than having to go into each proposal, we can use one of the variables here. I'll choose variable and then scroll to the top. It says client's first name. It drops in this little double curly bracket variable so that it auto completes with the information that you've set up inside of the client selector over in the first screen that we already looked at. The other options here are things like their full name, their email address, the city that they're in, their website. These are all important things because you might be dropping that into your proposal. If you do a lot of local businesses, you might say, hey, we work with a lot of companies that are in Boston. But if you don't put that variable in, you'll have to go through and find the city each proposal you send out. This is just a surefire way to make sure that it gets entered correctly. Next, let's address some of the options over here in the right-hand sidebar. So the first thing is we can make this a reusable section. That is what this is over here. So if I were to save this as my welcome section, let's go ahead and do that. Now, when I leave this proposal, which I can actually do at any time because it's just saving automatically. So let's go over to sections. I can see here is my welcome section right here that I just created. I can always edit this or trash it if I want to, but that's a great way to make sure that you don't have to redo work over and over again. All right, back over to our template. We'll open up the web design template and right where we left off. So that is the reusable section button. I find that very, very valuable. The next option is just to minimize this section. So I can hit this, everything closes up. This is actually fairly useful as you're editing a larger proposal. It might have 5 or 6 or 7 different sections in it. So you can kind of get a bird's eye view of all of the different sections you've already included. And that actually makes the next feature even more useful, which is to move things around. So let's go ahead and add another section here. And now if I wanted this section to show up second, I could simply drag it down to the bottom. Now, because this section doesn't have anything in it and I want my welcome section first, I'll go ahead and trash this. Gives me a warning. Are you sure you want to delete this? Yes, I'm sure. All right, let's expand this out again. There's just a couple more options to look at here before we get to pricing tables. All right, so we can go into full screen mode here. If you're the type of person who doesn't like to be distracted by other things on screen while you're writing, you can definitely do that. I like the width of the text here. Those things are very important. The proposal has to be readable. I think that's something that a lot of people overlook when they're looking at other proposal softwares. They just look at the overall features. The end result of Nusii, in my opinion, the reason that I chose it for our agency is that it's very, very readable. All of the proposals that go out end up looking extremely professional to the receiver without a lot of extra design work on our end. Now, the trade-off to that is that the designs are not extremely customizable. All templates from Nusii essentially look very, very similar, but we'll see more of that when we actually go ahead and build a real template for a client in a moment. One more option over here to the right is code view. This is really nice for the technically minded of you that want to get into the HTML and tweak things to be just right. You do have the option to do that. Reminds me of ConvertKit. ConvertKit has a very similar option where you can basically use it without ever opening that. But if you want to, the option is there. I like that. I wish more companies would make that option available. All right, so that is all of the features for what Nusii calls a text section. Usually my proposals are made up of 6 or 7 different text sections, and then maybe 1 or 2 pricing sections, which we're gonna look at right now. To add a pricing section to your template, simply click right here where it says add blank pricing section. So here is a pricing section, and the first thing you probably notice is that it doesn't look a whole lot different than the text section, and it's really not. You've got all of the same editing features that we just looked at in the text section available to you in the pricing section. But I usually keep my pricing sections short and sweet. Let's give it a title. We'll call it something like Your Investment. And then we have a few options here. We can make this section optional. You'd really only want to do this if you have multiple options available, right? Because you want them to sign the agreement and then have chosen at least one service to purchase. But let's say you have, a web design, and then you've got a maybe more advanced web design that costs a little bit more. You can make one of those sections optional as kind of like an add-on. The next option over is for include section total. And what this means is you're going to have a running total at the bottom of the section to show everything that the section includes. This is important if you have multiple items listed inside of one pricing option. So just to give you a better idea of what we're looking at here, let's start to use one. So I've added my first item here called a basic website design. It includes 5 pages. It's a fixed amount of $5,000. I could also make this a recurring amount or a monthly amount. I could say it's going to be $5,000 per month for 3 months or something like that, but we'll leave it at a fixed amount for right now. All right, now the next option right here is actually hidden by their chat feature. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a new pricing section so I can scroll down a little bit. All right, that looks better. We've got more in the center of the screen. So I can add a new line item here. And what this is gonna allow me to do is add another feature. Let's say they're buying the 5-page website, but I know they also are going to need, let's say, an optimization of their blog post, right? So I'll say blog post, SEO optimization for 10 pages. And this will be another fixed cost of, let's say, another $5,000. So now if I check this include section total, when you view the actual proposal, it'll show each line item and then give you a running total of $10,000. We're gonna see that on the front end when we actually make a real proposal. You can have 2 pricing sections inside of the same proposal, and there's a lot of reasons you might want to do that. Simply add another pricing section down here, and then you can make this one optional. So maybe this first one is required. If you're gonna do the website, you need to do this, but let's say you pitch them on the idea of creating an online course, right? So we'll add create an online course, give it a description, add this as a price as well. And let's add even a third option for website hosting. We'll add another blank pricing section. I'll give this the name website hosting, add a description. We'll change this to be a recurring cost of, let's say, $100 a month. All right, so we are now ready to use our template inside of a proposal. So I'm in the proposal section. In the upper right-hand corner, I can simply hit this plus proposal button, and we're gonna start building it right now. First thing we do is select our client. We're gonna go with John Doe, and we'll give this proposal a name of website design, and we can add an expiration date. Now, I actually feel like this is a pretty valuable thing to do. Adding an expiration date does 2 things. It helps your client actually, or your prospect, take action and respond to the proposal. They know that they have to get back to you by a certain date. And it also protects you because you might have things like timelines inside of your proposal. How long will this take to get done? Well, if you send out 5 proposals in 1 week and 3 people sign up, your timelines are going to start to get stretched out. So you don't want people accepting proposals proposals weeks after you've sent them, because then your timelines might have changed. So this is a good way to ensure that everything is going to stay timely. Let's go ahead and choose a expiration date right here of February 26th. And let's go ahead and hit next in the upper right hand corner. I can choose my template right here. I want to go with my website design template. All right, there we go. Everything shows up just as it was in the template. Although I'm free to customize it here, it won't affect what the original template looks like. That's the point of a template, right? It's a starting point so that you can customize things. If I want to see what this is going to look like, I can go up here to preview proposal. And this is a little bit of a weird screen inside of Nusii. I wish they had a better name for this, because it's not really previewing the proposal. It's previewing it for you, although it's going to look different to your client, because there's actually another screen where you can preview it as the client. So if you click on this, this is actually what it looks like. You can see it's stripped away all of the other Nusii interface information. So they have the option here to accept the proposal. They can take other actions like reject the proposal, ask for more information, or save it as a PDF. But let's go ahead and finish up this design here, because I don't really like the the flower underwater look here. I'm not really sure what that's going on with. So what I can do to change this background is click this little button right here to remove the image. And then from there, I can just simply drag another image into that zone, and then the background image will be updated. Now, right away, this isn't looking super great because the background is a little bit bright. We can change the overlay. We've got a few different color options right here. You can do blue, red, green, or this dark gray color. If you want to choose a different color, you do have the option of that. There is no spot for a hex code, which I would really like to see. So maybe I've got a brand color you want to use. You should be able to just type that in. I feel like that's kind of a basic feature that's not included, but here we go. It just kind of shows a black background that makes everything pop out nice. I've got my logo here, and that's because I uploaded it when I created my account. That is over in the settings. We'll look at that after we're done previewing our proposal here. Now, the important thing to me is that this proposal is already largely customized, right? I've got the company name up here. I've got the client name right here. I've got my name because I prepared the proposal right there. It's important. If you have multiple people working at a company, you could do that. We've got our website right here, as well as our email address. Here is the welcome letter that I wrote, and you can see that the first name was replaced with the correct first name, and then everything else kind of looks like garbage because that's how we built it out. Just showing you the features, obviously nothing to do with Nusii at fault here. But we can see this section total, right? That was something we wanted to look at. If we look at this section as a client, you're going to see that it looks very similar, but a little bit cleaner. I can go down to the bottom, and we can see here is our investment section. This has that subtotal checked, right? So that's why we see the $10,000. Then this option right here was optional, right? So I can click this to add it in. And then the website hosting, I didn't make optional. So I get a nice little breakdown here because I selected the online course. It's going to be a $20,000 proposal with a $100 per month reoccurring fee. Now, if I'm ready to sign this proposal, I can simply click accept the proposal, fill out my name, draw in my signature, and leave a message if I'd like. Say, oh, can't wait to start working with you. All right, so that is the bulk of the functionality. We've already got a functional proposal ready to go. Let's go ahead and look at some extra bells and whistles over in the settings section. In the settings section, much like the client section, this is where I can customize my company's information so that if I use variables to dynamically populate it inside of templates, it will be grabbing from here, right? I've got my company email address, my company name, so on and so forth. We've got a phone number, an address. Everything we saw inside of the client's options is over here inside of the account-wide settings. Over in general settings, we can set up those features I was mentioning in the client settings to be at an account-wide level. What currency do I use? What language is my preferred language? What time zone am I in? Do I want a default paper size? All of that is available right here. And if you want to add tax to all of your proposals, you can do that as well. In the proposal, I mentioned that it was prepared by me, and that's because I'm the only team member that's currently added to this account. But if I wanted to add another team member so that they could create proposals, their name would be dynamically populated as well. So right under the team member section here, I can just invite them via email. Then I can have more than one person. If you've got a whole sales staff that is sending out proposals, you can have each person have their own account inside of your Nusii. The next section down is for custom domains, and this will allow you to essentially white label Nusii so that it matches with your brand. What it'll allow you to do is replace the nusii.com domain with a domain name of your choosing. So for us, we use proposals.clientamp.com at our digital marketing agency. You could choose whatever you like for yours. You simply type in the address that you want to use. It gives you a CNAME record. You just update that on your website's DNS and you'll be good to go. When you send out a proposal, it'll look like you have your own custom proposal platform built out specifically for your company. And I guess in a way you actually do. The next section is for notifications. Nusii is going to send you out notifications notifications when people open up your emails. By default, it's going to notify you immediately every time the email gets opened. So I've actually had it where maybe someone's scrolling through their emails and they open up my email like 7 times within an hour. Maybe they're just very excited about the proposal, but more than likely they're just kind of thumbing through their emails over and over again. So you can end up getting a lot of notifications, but hey, I'd like to know when people are opening up my emails regarding proposals, because then I can be aware and I can be alert. Maybe they have questions. Maybe I want to jump on chat and interact with them. Say, hey, do you have any questions about the proposal I sent off? And they'll be like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about that. And you'll look like you know everything. In the branding section here, we can start to customize the look of our proposals. And this is really one of the big downsides of Nusii, is that they don't really have any templates for proposals. Everything kind of looks the same. We can just change a few basic colors. So maybe I want to make my accept button, I don't know, green. I can do that. Let's make it a little darker so you can read the text. There we go. I can change the font to be one of a few different fonts. I can't upload my own font. I could choose something like Roboto. You can see how that updated all the headers. I take it back. There are actually 2 different templates here. We have a classic template, which looks like this. Really, really bare bones, doesn't have a header image at all. And then we have the modern template. I've actually never used the classic template, but maybe it fits better with your line of work. So just know that you can kind of strip things out and make it a little bit more bare bones. But we can also change the section title. So I can make that maybe that same green color. There is the ability to use hex codes here, thank goodness. So I can copy and paste that in. There we go. Now they're matching the accept button and the header color. But you get the point. You can change a few different colors here. There's actually quite a few different options, but it's going to be for things like, the PDF header, the PDF footer. What do those look like? I can add a default image in. So if I'm not really feeling the flower vibe here, I could change that out, or I could just remove the image altogether, change the background color. Maybe you don't want to have an image at all. You just want to go with, maybe a nice dark background. We could definitely do that as well. Nusii is going to be sending out emails on your behalf. So you want to take care of 2 things. First of all, the templates for the emails that they're sending out, make sure that matches with your brand language. You can do that right here under email templates. We've got a proposal template. So this is what goes out when you send off the initial link to your proposal. We've got the thank you template, as well as a voided proposal template. So check through all of those, make sure they read how you'd like. But the next thing, and I'd argue the most important thing, is that you go ahead and verify Nusii to send on your behalf. And a lot of companies don't do this, and it really affects the deliverability of their product. So I'm happy to see Nusii doing this the right way. Under sending domain, you're going to generate a signature, and then you'll just have a few things to update over at your DNS provider. It's going to be the DKIM settings. You'll add that in, and then Nusii will be able to send on your behalf. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, when you create your account, you'll end up verifying your email address that you're sending from. That is done right here. If you didn't verify it for whatever reason, you'll want to make sure you do that. Another instance might be that you've changed the email address that you want to send from. Maybe it's just kind of a generic email like proposals@yourcompanyname.com. You do that over in the account settings and then re-verify that email address right over here. And last but not least, we've got our integrations and API section right here, where Nusii can actually connect up with a lot of different software that you're probably already using. Things like Slack to get notifications. Of course, it'll send it to your email address as well, but you might want those push notifications that Slack can send out. You can connect up to Stripe and get paid directly from Nusii, so you don't have to do separate invoicing if you choose to do that. I still like to do invoicing separately, but I know a lot of people out there want to keep things as streamlined as possible. If you're using chat tools like Intercom, Continually, or Gist, you can integrate those so that you can actually chat with people as they're looking at your proposal. That's a really cool feature. And it also has some integrations with CRMs, things like Pipedrive and HubSpot. If there is an application here that it doesn't work with that you want it to, you've got 3 different options. You can use a webhook, you can do the development yourself and create an API connection. Maybe you actually own a product you want to integrate with Nusii. That they make it very easy here with their API. And you can, of course, use Zapier. All right, so there you go. Now you should have a pretty good idea of how Nusii operates and whether or not it's a good fit for your business. As you can probably tell going through the video, I'm a really big fan of Nusii. I like everything that they're offering. I just wish they could customize things a little bit more. I do have some ideas about ways they could do this without ruining the streamlined approach of how Nusii works. The beautiful thing about it is that it's very simple. There's not a lot of options in terms of how it looks. So everything comes out looking pretty darn good. In fact, I've never had any complaints about the appearance of proposals that I've sent out. No one's ever said, oh, we're not going with you because the proposal looks amateurish. That's actually been quite the opposite. People have always really commented on, oh, this proposal was so professionally done. It really looks like you took a lot of time to think about my business. Little do they know that I've got this nice template system that allows me to do this fairly quickly. But I think Nusii could offer just a few options in terms of maybe having portrait and landscape orientation, or maybe changing the way the headings look, maybe have a solid color background, or maybe different underline options for headings, just ways to customize it to fit with different brands a little bit more. That would be really nice. Overall, I recommend Nusii and give them a solid 9.0 out of 10. All right, I'm going to start to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. Before we go, I want to remind you one last time to check out SkillJet.io and my new course, Closing the Deal. It'll teach you how to create professional proposals to win more business for your company, as well as all of the information you need to create the proposals in the first place through the sales call. I highly recommend checking it out. It's going to do it for this video. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.